Yo guys, what is going on? Nickname is just Yellow, and today this Norwegian hardcore PC gamer is gonna make a video about, I guess you could call it chapter 2 of why Counter-Strike actually got big, or rather how this one is gonna be themed. It's gonna be about what we could or should do in order to allow Counter-Strike to stay a big game, in which I'm gonna go through the game in terms of how you actually play it, because it's a fucking game. We're not supposed to focus too much about gambling, even though that thoroughly helps the game grow a lot. Skin drops, which also helps it a little bit. Trading, which also helps the game a little bit. Events, which also helps the game a lot more. And also skins. All of these smaller factors do help Counter-Strike a lot out in terms of becoming a bigger game. But the biggest factors that do make Counter-Strike a big game is the fact of the matter that you can run this thing on a potato, which is really good. You can run the game with a very good rig on a very high kind of end level, in which allows players of skill to do, you know, not only crazy or lucky things like what I did there, but actually get skill spraydowns like that, for example, and you can be able to perform on an even higher level. These things, the last ones, is primarily why Counter-Strike is such a great game. It connects you as a player so hardcore to the game, in which it allows you to perform on a level or compete on levels in which have never seen before. Like, it has a high skill ceiling. This need to be maintained. But not only that, as more players join up with the game, what they need to do as well is to get groomed. They need to be treated well, but not only well, they need to be treated right, in which the people who cannot handle the treatment, in which I'll get to that in a second, they will not progress. This needs to be done. No other esport game or a game with a size in which it then allows esport to become a thing, except for Counter-Strike, because us as the players do this ourselves. I'll get to this too in a second. It has not been done, but it needs to be done properly in Counter-Strike if this game truly wants to become the COD killer, to put it simple. So what the hell am I talking about? If you want to become invite level in Counter-Strike, you need to not only be a nice guy, you know, a person with an actual mind. You need to be able to call, you know, you need to actually have social cues on a certain level in which you're not a terrible person to have around. If this does not click or never improves, you are doomed, which is really entertaining and is also really epic. You need to have really strict sets of, you know, rules in terms of how you play, how often you play, how often do you refresh the way you play, you know, just being aware about the game in general, but not only that, but you also have to actually be good, and that requires a lot of dedication. You need to prove this dedication as well. If we can simulate a very basic way of this system and make it bulletproof to a certain level, if we can do this, if we just could implement this into casual Counter-Strike play, this would just make Counter-Strike blow out of proportions, and it essentially would make this game League of Legends of the FPS genre. It would make it the ultimate Call of Duty game, because not only do you have a high skill ceiling, but you have an environment in which everybody play at, in which if you don't meet these requirements, you are not going to be able to reach a certain level, in which is where you're not, like, on life and death, you cannot take the shitty route that happened with League of Legends as of late, in which people, if you say anything that could be ironically a cancerous word they use is toxic, just call it assholes, because that's what they are. Just stop being childish and use buzzwords, you fucking retards. If anybody are acting like assholes, like or ironically being assholes, or they could possibly be perceived as assholes, they are getting, you know, fucking slapped the wrist. What the hell is that? That's so autistic. Like, oh my god, what are you doing? I don't understand. But that aside, we can't have that. We just need to allow everything to run organically. You know, people do what they want, because that's how it works. But the people who are acting in that little extra way, following that extra little benchmark, step by step, if we could just implement that in a way in which would allow the entire base, when you reach the higher top, or when you are on the road on top, or not on top of you, but, you know, when you are about to reach a higher rank, for example. If that could just be a thing, that would make everything so much more pleasurable to play on the higher ranks, because it would almost make it guaranteed that you're playing with people who are not, you know, mentally disabled on a level in which makes them terrible to hang around with, which would be great. That 128 tick, of course, with a official WoW service, but, you know, if they can't implement a $5 service, I gotta go to Face It, I guess. But anyways, that's my best take on this. If you people have some great suggestions that could be better, please just post them below, you know. Anyways, here are two very, very much related videos. Hopefully you enjoy this video. If you want to support the YouTube channel and make it grow even faster, and, you know, also by that definition, helping out everybody else enjoy this channel, feel free to do so with the Patreon stuff. All the links below. Anyways, thanks for watching, have a nice day, and don't get beastified when you play, people.